Hello, happy Friday and welcome to Notts Today, the show bringing you all the good to know and latest news from across this fine county we call home. I'm Emma Caldwell and here's a look at what's coming up today. We've been to one of our county's nature reserves that's been hit by the floods.
But I think the difference we've seen over the last few years is it's gone from being a very occasional occurrence to being something that happens every winter. Things like the voles and the shrews get their burrows washed out, flooded out.
Plus, of course, we've got some great guests as well for your Friday afternoon. Shortly, we're going to be talking about the government's plans to reduce child poverty after the Work and Pensions Secretary's visit to our county yesterday. And we've been out to speak to some of the city's foreign students, hearing some of the culture shocks that they faced when they came to the UK.
In Hong Kong, when it's rain, I must bring umbrella with me because I don't like the feeling when I get wet. But they just don't care about getting wet.
I do care about getting wet, and we're going to be hearing from two stars of stage and screen ahead of a brand new play coming to Nottingham in just a few months' time. I've spoken to star of the National Theatre's Warhorse, Hollyoaks Casualty and Corrie, Peter Ash, and Grange Hill's Silent Witness and Law and Order star Fiona Wade about their new roles in Picture You Dead. And it sounds fabulous as well. And in sport, Nottingham Forest face Luton Town in the FA Cup third round this weekend. Nuno Espirito Santo says he will be making changes to the starting 11.
What is important for us is that we are ready to play against Luton, and of course we're going to make changes. We're going to make changes because every player deserves to start the game.
All that and loads more coming up just for you. But first, yesterday, Liz Kendall, the Work and Pensions Secretary and Labour MP for Leicester West, met charity leaders to discuss the government's plans to reduce child poverty. In Ollerton alone, around 40% of children are living in absolute poverty. And in the Newark and Sherwood constituency, 6,896 children currently live in poverty. Our local democracy reporter Joe Locker is joining me in the studio soon. But first, here's what Liz Kendall and Debbie Webster from St Anne's Advice Centre had to say in the meeting.
People here today raised that directly with me, and I know that the impact that this has had. But what I would say is we will only make promises about policies when we can show how we pay for them. I know the impact that the social security system has, but I also believe that giving parents more opportunities to get better paid work with the childcare they need, that is the long-term solution out of poverty. We'll be publishing our child poverty strategy this year. We're going to look at all of the levers to drive up incomes, drive down costs and give kids the best start in life.
Yes, it was a really good meeting with Liz Kendall, and I wanted to raise the issue around the child benefit, child 2-cap benefit. So people who are born, who've got more than 2 children, who were born after 2017 don't receive any universal credit for that child. And the government did have the opportunity to vote to abolish it, and they chose not to do that, which was disappointing for services like ourselves and for the 1.6 million children that are actually living in poverty because of the benefit cap.
And Joe joins us in the studio now. Thank you so much for joining us. So why did Liz Kendall visit Nottinghamshire?
Yeah, so she was invited by Sherwood Forest's Labour MP, Michelle Welsh, who was recently elected. She basically invited her to come over to Ollerton because the child poverty figures there and in Newark and Sherwood, the constituency as a whole, are really quite high. I mean, you've got sort of 6,896 children in poverty in the constituency, and then around 40% of children living in absolute poverty in Ollerton alone.
Awful.
Definitely. So the Labour government's proposed a number of measures to sort of tackle child poverty. And Liz Kendall basically went to chat to a number of organisations. So we had Debbie Webster, who we just saw there from the St Anne's Advice Service, as well as Sally Thompson from Home Start in Mansfield. So they could voice their concerns, really, saying this is what we're seeing, this is what we want from the government to tackle, these quite resounding and important problems.
So what's been the reaction to Liz's visit?
Yeah, so as we saw there with Debbie, she says she believes the government is genuine in its actions, I suppose, so far, but she does understand that finances are difficult at the moment. But she continued to urge that the government must drop the two-child benefit cap. So basically, all children get child benefit. It's available to all families, regardless of the number of children you have. However, low-income families can get help such as tax credits and universal credit. So that cap applies to that element. So that two-child cap applies to that. And that came into force in 2017 under the Conservative government at the time. And Debbie says, this is we're seeing it having a detrimental impact on children and families in Nottinghamshire. And, I think it's something like 1.6 million children across the country that are affected by this. So once again, they're calling on the government to, consider that fact.
So Michelle Welsh is Sherwood Forest MP. What she had to say about this?
Yeah, so she said that the child poverty figures are outrageous. She said, she feels the constituency has been neglected for so long. And I also asked her about the two-child cap, of course, because it was an issue brought up by these organisations. And she says, discussing the cap isn't off the agenda. She's still going to, try and talk to the government about it. But she said it's important the government also acts sensibly in terms of the budget. So if it doesn't have the budget to do so, as it says, she believes it's the right call. And she thinks other measures that we'll discuss in a moment will have an impact.
So let's discuss those other measures. What are the government saying that they will do to help combat child poverty?
Yeah, so one of the big ones that some people may have seen in the news already is a fair repayment rate for universal credit. So that caps the amount that's deducted from someone's benefits to repay things like short-term loans or debt. And that, according to the government, is going to benefit about 1.2 million people in that they'll have roughly £420 extra per year. So, Liz Kendall admits it's a small change, but probably a welcome one to those who are struggling. We've also got breakfast clubs now as well, so mums, parents, dads can go to work while their child is at a breakfast club and getting food, basically. We've also got in the upcoming year a child poverty strategy as well. Right. So that'll set out, I suppose, the government's longer term plans to address these areas that have, as Michelle says, have been neglected for so long, really.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing some more about those measures that are being taken. But for the moment, Joe, thank you for joining us today. Now, this week, there have been major disruption across the whole county due to flooding, seeing widespread road closures and even damage to homes. But it's not just streets and houses that are being affected by the water. Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust staff at the Attenborough Nature Reserve have said that they've also been dealing with the effects of poor weather, with the site having to close for 2 days due to rising water. And that, the Trust says, is increasing flood incidents. They're just growing concerns as the weather means losing vital donations from visitors. And Jack Sims has more.
When we think of flooding, we often imagine submerged streets, wading through water, and residents being rescued from their homes. But what about wildlife? The Attenborough Nature Reserve is the home of hundreds of species of birds, mammals and fish, and also serves as one of Nottinghamshire's most popular tourist attractions, with thousands coming every year to see the wildlife. However, this week, with the East Midlands experiencing widespread flooding causing disruption across the county, this idyllic lake, a provider of fresh water to all its inhabitants, became a hazard to animals and staff. The wet weather caused the lake to overflow, meaning footpaths and access to the site's visitor centre were submerged under inches of water, forcing staff to close the reserve for 2 days. For Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust, frequent flooding incidents have become a growing concern, not just for the effects on wildlife, but on their finances too.
Here at Attenborough, we're in the floodplain. We do expect to flood occasionally, but I think the difference we've seen over the last few years is it's gone from being a very occasional occurrence to being something that happens every winter. But the increased frequency certainly could have an impact on things like the small mammal populations, as the things like the voles and the shrews get their burrows washed out, flooded out regularly. And over the last 2 winters, we've actually been closed for 18 days because of flooding incidents, which previously there would have been 1 or 2 days in the dim and distant past, but actually we're we're now having to even budget for a number of days closure each winter, which obviously impacts on our income and then our ability to invest in the centre and the nature reserve.
But for staff here, like Beth Maples, the weather's unpredictability makes it difficult to find solutions for a growing issue.
It's not as simple as, we can follow a bit of a flow chart as to how bad it is and plan a response accordingly. We've got to have members of staff down here on the ground checking it out at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and playing it day by day, really. Staff are waiting to find out on the morning, are we open? Do they need to come in? Do they need to set off? It's quite a reactive thing. It's not something we can always really plan for.
Although the site has since reopened, the sudden cold weather has frozen over the waters, an icy reminder that winter offers no refuge to the people and wildlife alike. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Thanks, Jack. Next, a former police officer has been found guilty of misconduct after behaving inappropriately with female members of staff. Today saw the conclusion of the misconduct hearing of former PC Keith Brothwell, where he provided a detailed account in relation to the allegations, but the hearing found he had breached the standards of professional behaviour. And a plan to build an apartment complex near the River Trent in Beeston has been thrown out by local councillors. Broxtowe Borough Council refused to grant the construction of 29 2- and 3-storey flats on Riverside Close on Riverside Road, which overlooks the Beeston Canal and River Trent. The decision was made on Monday at Broxtowe Borough Council's Planning Committee meeting. There has been 96 letters of objection ahead of the meeting due to parking and traffic issues. Time for a quick break now, but after the break we will have a bumper sports roundup for you for your Friday afternoon. See you in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Emma Caldwell. Happy Friday, bringing you the latest news and views from across the county. Let's take a look at some more of your news headlines now. 3 men have been jailed after a fight involving knives in Nottingham city centre. On June the 22nd last year, police were called to Market Square after a group of men were fighting following a dispute in a nightclub that left one man requiring hospital treatment after sustaining a blow to his face from 29-year-old Christopher Gerald, who fled the scene with 27-year-old Dewey Smith in his BMW. 23-year-old Tyrone Loftman denied being at the scene but was later tracked by mobile phone. Gerald was jailed for 33 months. Loftman got 27 months and Smith faces 18 months after they appeared at Crown Court on Wednesday. Next, the world premiere of a brand new stage production, Picture You Dead, is coming to Nottingham's Theatre Royal in March as part of its UK tour. The show is adapted from crime writer Peter James's novels and follows couple Harry and Freya, who find a painting that they find could be worth a lot of money. The stage show comes to Nottingham, and I'm very pleased to say star of screen and stage Peter Ash and Fiona Wade joined me earlier on to discuss the stage show. Well, Peter, Fiona, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, this show is hot on the heels of the latest instalment of the incredible ITV series Grace. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, based on Peter James's award-winning crime thrilling series of books. This is the seventh.
Yes, the seventh
one that's been adapted into a stage play, and yeah, I think we're both very excited to get that started. And
so, what can you tell us about this new show?
Well, we can't say too much because we don't want to give too much away, but it's very exciting. It's it's sort of all around the art world, and I play Freya Kipling, who is married to Harry Kipling, and they're a lovely sort of young couple. Just sort of everyday people that happen to go to a car boot sale. And at this car boot sale, Harry finds this picture that Freya thinks is rather awful. But Harry is like, oh, let's get it. It's a bargain. And they take it home. And it turns out that this painting could be an original and could be worth millions of pounds. And that is where the drama sort of starts to unfold.
Yes, and then my character is an art forger who copies works of art. the Kiplings get in touch with me so I can make them a copy of their picture so that they can store what they think is the original safely stored away, and then they can hang the copy up on their wall. Which is
Honestly,
what many people do who own very valuable works of art. They get a copy done so that they can keep, the original safe.
Which I never knew.
I had no idea that was a thing either. Yeah,
we've learned so much, haven't we?
Yes, we have. Some of these copies are so good that you can't even tell anymore which is the original and which plays into some of the story as well. So yeah, it's really interesting.
and honestly, you don't realise things. This clearly, I don't have enough very expensive art in my house to have forgeries of that very expensive art. But like you were just saying, this is the 7th adaptation of one of Peter James's books. Like, this is a world premiere production. Do you feel the pressure? Because people love these shows. People love these books. Do you feel the pressure of a brand new show for audiences who really, really love these? Or is it just a thrill to bring something new out?
Bit of a thrill, but a bit more pressure now that you've said that.
Yeah, sorry.
But no, it's yeah. I mean, like with any job, I guess, with acting, you get that,
do a great job.
Yeah, you get the adrenaline, you get the nerves, you get the fear, but it's all part of what it takes to bring it alive, really.
And just, real honour to be a part of something that, Peter James is just so hugely popular and recognised, and we get to do a play that's still an original. No one's done it before. So we get to kind of, make something that no one's done before. And that, that's so exciting.
I love that. And why do you think it is that crime shows do so well on stage?
Well, I don't know. I guess everyone kind of loves a good crime thriller.
I mean, I do. I love
figure out thrillers. Who the murderer is and, where the bodies are buried and all that kind of thing. It's, I guess it's human nature as well, isn't it?
I think it's just we're just fascinated by finding out who's done it or what's happened or why they've done something.
Yeah, and how the criminal mind works, all that kind of thing.
We love it. Well, we cannot wait for you to come to Nottingham. You are touring in Nottingham at the Theatre Hall starting Tuesday, the 11th of March. Peter and Fiona, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, how lovely were they? Time for your sport now, and Nottingham Forest take on Championship side Luton Town tomorrow at home in the FA Cup third round. Last year, the Reds drew at home against Blackpool before narrowly winning the replay and then drawing again away to Bristol. However, this year, of course, there are no replays in the Cup, so if a game ends in a draw, it will go to extra time, and then if goalless, it will, of course, go to penalties. And here's what newly crowned Premier League Manager of the Month, don't you know, Nuno Espirito Santo, had to say.
Is basically the commitment of the players, realizing how important it is. When you speak about defense, it's not only about the back four and the goalkeeper. Of course, they are huge, but defending starts with grease, the way we try to prevent and cut some lines. So defensive work is all about the team. Having clean sheets for me it's a basic starting point. There's no, in our minds, that no other thing that besides Luton. This is what we are, and we prepare today, and they are focused and committed. What is important for us that we are ready to play against Luton, and of course we're going to make changes. We're going to make changes because every player deserves to start the game.
And another Nottingham side that found themselves in the FA Cup third round is Mansfield Town, who face Wigan Athletic, who are 17th in the league table. The game was meant to be played tomorrow, but has been moved to the 14th of January because of the pitch being frozen. It's the first FA Cup meeting between the sides since November 1989, where the Stags lost 2-0 in the first round tie. The Stags have only managed to progress from just one of their last 10 FA Cup third round ties, beating Brighton 2-1 in 2007. Stags defender Deji Oshie-Lana, who once played for AFC Wimbledon when they beat West Ham in the FA Cup, spoke about the upcoming game, saying they plan on bringing the heat.
I think it's been a bit stop-start. They're a good side, we do know that. When we played them away, they had a lot of the ball. They're very technical and they're very young and they've got a lot of energy, so we'll have to manage that. But again, we'll look at them a little bit, but the full focus will be on us, Every game the manager is very, very adamant that we got to do what we do and take the game to them, and we'll do that, especially being at home as well, So we'll look at them a little bit, but the focus will be on us mainly. We've got results, and the performances will continue to get better, and then hopefully we can continue to get some more results.
And Notts County are back in league action this weekend as they hit the road to face Grimsby Town away tomorrow morning. The Magpies sit 6th in the table on 40 points, which is level with AFC Wimbledon in 5th, and Grimsby are just 3 points behind but sit in 9th. A win for Notts County this weekend could see them leapfrogging into the top 3 if other results go their way. Here's what head coach Stuart Maynard had to say.
It's a very congested league in that sense, like you say, when you reel off those stats, but they're a very good team. And at home especially, it's a very difficult place to go, and it has been over the years. So yeah, we expect a very tough test. We're focusing on clean sheets, and we feel it's a big part of our success this year. We've had 9 clean sheets in the league, which has been brilliant, and so we're focusing on clean sheets and not high scoring games like the Cheltenham one.
Well, let's take a look at this week's Team Talk panel's score predictions for the games this weekend. This episode was dedicated to the legendary Brian Clough, as this week marks 50 years since he arrived at Forest and changed their fortunes forever. Guests were Miracle Man Ian Bowyer and Clough's first ever signing, Bert Bowry, and you can watch the full episode on YouTube and nottstv.com, and here are their predictions.
Nottingham Forest are playing against Luton in the FA Cup, the 1959 final replayed. What are we thinking for this game?
I have to go for Nottingham Forest, without a doubt.
I can't see nothing but Forest win, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on the team.
I mean, he's going to change the team, isn't he? But
yeah.
But even changing it,
regardless of the team, yeah.
I don't think you want to change it too much.
Here's a little start. Luton have not won away from home in 10 games. Let's not make it the first one.
They've got nothing to lose, haven't they? That's the
but
thing.
Isn't it crazy? Like a year ago, Forest and Luton were neck and neck near the bottom of the league, and now look at the gap between the two.
Football is the things that happen in football. You just cannot understand it. When teams are flying like Man City, and all of a sudden something knocks them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yes. Right, the big one then next Tuesday: Forest against Liverpool at the City Ground.
I'm going to go for a score draw.
With the thinking?
Well, it's Liverpool Football Club. They're pretty handy.
Yeah.
Forest are pretty handy at the minute. And I'm edging on a draw or Forest to nick it.
Yeah. You've got a soft spot for Liverpool?
I've not got a soft spot for
Liverpool.
Yeah. But I was thinking about 2-2 draw or something like that, to be fair. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Right, you've been involved in many battles?
It'll be 2-0 Forest.
Really? What makes you think that?
I think they've just got more momentum than Liverpool have at the moment. Where did Liverpool draw this week? They drew it.
Man U. Yeah, Man U.
With Man U.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game.
It wasn't
it was a great game, but not a great performance.
I think over the course of the season, I mean, Arsenal lost last night. Man City have absolutely blown up.
Wow.
It's perhaps Liverpool might.
Exciting times.
Your second team then, Bert?
Yes.
It is.
Yes.
Right, let's quickly go on to Mansfield against Wigan in the FA Cup.
Mansfield win.
Yeah. You've got to say
a 1-0 win for Mansfield for me.
Thank you.
Jordan's going
I'm saying Mansfield.
Yeah. Notts County at Grimsby, surely not another 5-5.
No, but I think Notts County will, they're good enough to go up there and win the football match.
I'll take Notts 3-1.
Brilliant. We'll have some goals.
Notts 2-0.
Time for a look at our picture of the day now, and this great snap from Attenborough Nature Reserve was taken by Miriam Julia. Thank you very much for that. Weather-wise, I've got to be honest, it's going to be absolutely freezing. Tonight is going to be dry, but temperatures dropping to a very chilly -3 in the early hours of tomorrow. Saturday, it's going to be foggy all morning, but we will see some sunny spells in the late morning and afternoon. Temperatures still below 0 though. That's all for now. Just grab yourself a cup of tea. We'll be back in a sec. Hello, welcome back to Notts Today with me, Emma Caldwell, bringing you the very latest news and views from across the county. Let's take a look at some more of your news headlines. First, and plans to rebuild historic Brinsley headstocks have now been approved by the council. Broxtowe Borough Council has given the green light to its own planning application at a meeting on Wednesday. The plans will now see the landmark reconstructed as a full wooden one. Some of the original parts of the structure will be retained, whilst new parts will be a direct like-for-like replacement of the previously demolished structures. It's expected to cost the council between £170,000 to £220,000 to rebuild and 6 monthly £500 inspections. Next, parking fees will be introduced at Gedling Country Park to help pay for future maintenance. Gedling Borough Council's approved a £2 parking charge at a cabinet meeting yesterday, alongside a budget of £12,000 to pay for 2 pay and display machines to make payment easier for visitors. The new fees will come into play in the springtime after being free to use, but people are currently being asked to make a donation at collection points around the site. Councillor Jenny Hollingsworth, the deputy leader of the council, said parking on nearby residential streets will be monitored following concerns from those that live near the park. Now it's time to take a look at what you can get up to on this chilly Friday night with our What's On guide. First up at the Royal Concert Hall, it's Northern Live playing all the best Northern soul that swept the nation. That's going to be a great night. It starts at 7:30, doors open at 6:30, or if you want to see a tribute act called Kings of Leon, that's Lyon. They are playing at Saltbox tonight. I love that. From 6:30, tickets are still available online. Alternatively, if you want a Friday night giggle in an unusual room, well, head to Comedy in the Caves at the Whistle and Flute. There are 4 acts tonight on stage from 8 until 10:30. And finally, it's quiz night at the John Godber Centre in Hucknall. Tickets for that are £6 each, which includes some snacks, and there is, of course, a prize for the winning team. That all starts at 7:30 tonight. But whatever you're doing, have a good one and wrap up warm because it is cold. Now that is what you can get up to tonight, but if you've got kids, then this next guest is just for you. Of course, Christmas may have come and gone, and that also means you've got to tighten those purse strings too. So it can be difficult to find things to do, but there is still plenty you can get up to in and around our county. And Isabel Bailey, who runs Off Out Nottingham, joins me now to tell us more. Isabella, it's lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to
we
you.
We can still say that, can't we?
We can. It's still early doors.
Absolutely. Now, of course, it's January. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to work out what's going on, where you can take the kids, but you've got some great suggestions.
Yes, I've got 5 events to chat about. So we thought Panto season was over, but
it
isn't. You've got it. So Nottingham Playhouse, their Panto is still running Jack and the Beanstalk until the 18th of January. And then up in Mansfield Palace Theatre have got Cinderella from the 11th to the 19th of January too. So they're great for taking the kids to. They love them, don't they? If you're still feeling a bit festive still, Clumber Park have extended their snowman sculpture trail.
Have they? Yes. Because I didn't do that.
No,
I thought I'd missed that.
No, you haven't. So 31st of January.
Ooh.
So it's actually really lovely. So we went up just after Christmas. So there's 12 sculptures to find. They're all decorated with the 12 days of Christmas. So really lovely. It's a long walk to find all of them, but there's like a shorter one that we did. You can just find the 8 or 9. But it's really lovely. So yeah, 31st January for that one still.
Brilliant.
Beeston Light Night takes place on the 25th of January, so there's a few light night events taking place in different parts of the county, but Beeston is first up. There's been installations, performances, displays, and they're all themed around poetry and fire this time, which it's all free as well, so that's a really good one to look forward to.
And I love a night, especially when you take kids as well, because sometimes you can do these events that are in the city, and sometimes I'm sort of, I've got a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old and I'm dragging them around. But when there's light nights on, it just seems to kind of spark their imagination and keep their interest.
It's so great. It's for all ages as well. Even babies are like, oh, like, you know, they love looking at the lights and things.
So when's that one on?
25th of January for Beeston, and then the city one is not till the end of February.
Wonderful.
And there's one in Mansfield taking place middle of February as well. I'm not talking about February quite yet.
No, not yet.
So also Blue Monday is coming up, which is, they say it's the most depressing day of the year, the 20th of January, but Red Kangaroo have decided to give us all a bit of a boost on that day and offer free entry to their trampoline parks. So that was Red Kangaroo in Nottingham and Oxygen over in Derby, both doing free entry that day. You need to book online, so you need to sign up to their mailing list this weekend to get access to those free tickets. But that will be great.
Absolutely. So you just need to sign up to the mailing list. You don't need to book it yet. You just, then that will give you the ticket
they just want to basically they are going to release the tickets directly through an email sign up. So you need to sign up before the 12th, and then on the 13th, on this Monday coming, they're going to release the tickets to people who are subscribed.
Then
I think they're going to release more if they're not all get booked up. But I think they just want to try and manage the flow.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a popular one, that one.
Absolutely. Jump into action for that one.
Absolutely.
Hey!
There you go. Getting those puns out. And then a bit further afield, Conkers down in Derbyshire, they're hosting a Twilight light trail. So just after dark. You can go there for the day and then stay a bit later for the twilight light trails.
I like that, and I know it's in Derbyshire, not Nottinghamshire. It's such a good day out.
It's a good day out,
I feel
yeah.
like it's a really wholesome place to go.
Yes,
I
yeah,
really do.
it's nice, yeah.
But I think the thing is, and we've talked about this before, sometimes these things, there's a cost to go to. The Panto's brilliant, but there's some free stuff going on as well, isn't there?
Yeah, so I thought I'd quickly chat about some of the free things to do, just to remind people. We've got a few different free activities all around Nottingham. So if you want to stay nice and warm indoors, our museums, Willerton Hall Museum is free at the moment. I don't think it's going to stay free, unfortunately. So that's going to be one. If you want to check that out, then it's a good time to go, because I don't think it's going to stay free. Greens Windmill is another free entry museum. It's a science museum.
Love it there.
So yeah, that's a nice one if you've not been. Erewash Museum, it's up in Ilkeston. It's only a small one, but they've got a nice little cafe, a few little rooms to look around, and they've got some nice exhibitions on as well. It's only an hour or so, but it's just nice sometimes to get out the house and see some different things.
Just whilst we're talking about Greens Windmill, do you know what I love about Greens Windmill? The fact that there's a park really close by. So I quite often go with the kids. We have a look around the windmill, we go all the way up. It's very exciting. They get very excited, and then we just go to the park right next to it.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a few different things in that area, isn't there? So that's nice. A Mansfield Museum is also free, and then again over in Derbyshire, the Museum of Making is free entry. That's a really nice big museum. I'll have a explore around. Nice little day trip there. If you've got under fives, the Rhyme Time at the library is starting up again. Nice little free sessions. Nice to get out. If you've got little ones, it's hard sometimes to get that push to get out. Children's centres are running their free messy play sessions. They've got free activities and stay and plays. And also local churches, local community centres often run free or very cheap stay and plays too. If you're looking to get out and about, if you fancy wrapping up warm, some winter walks that are free. Highfields, Gedling Country Park, obviously we just talked about they're introducing a parking charge, but hopefully it's still...
I feel it's worth it.
It is. It's £2 for the... I think that's going to be, it's still good value.
I agree. There's so many free things that are on. We've
Absolutely.
Run out of time.
Oh, that was so quick, goodness me.
So quick.
There we go.
Remind us how we can find out more.
So offoutnottingham.com and at offoutnottingham on all the socials.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
Lovely seeing you. Thank you very much. So we thought January was
there
quiet.
There we go, and I ran out of time.
Now, this week, there of course has been major disruption across the county due to flooding, seeing widespread road closures and even damaged home. But it's not just streets and houses being affected by the water. Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust staff at the Attenborough Nature Reserve have also been dealing with the effects of poor weather, and Jack Sims has more.
When we think of flooding, we often imagine submerged streets, wading through water, and residents being rescued from their homes. But what about wildlife? The Attenborough Nature Reserve is the home of hundreds of species of birds, mammals and fish, and also serves as one of Nottinghamshire's most popular tourist attractions, with thousands coming every year to see the wildlife. However, this week, with the East Midlands experiencing widespread flooding causing disruption across the county, this idyllic lake, a provider of fresh water to all its inhabitants, became a hazard to animals and staff. The wet weather caused the lake to overflow, meaning footpaths and access to the site's visitor centre were submerged under inches of water, forcing staff to close the reserve for 2 days. For Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust, frequent flooding incidents have become a growing concern, not just for the effects on wildlife, but on their finances too.
Here at Attenborough, we're in the floodplain. We do expect to flood occasionally, but I think the difference we've seen over the last few years is it's gone from being a very occasional occurrence to being something that happens every winter. But the increased frequency certainly could have an impact on things like small mammal populations, as the things like the voles and the shrews get their burrows washed out, flooded out regularly. And over the last 2 winters, we've actually been closed for 18 days because of flooding incidents, which previously there would have been 1 or 2 days in the dim and distant past, but actually we're now having to even budget for a number of days closure each winter, which obviously impacts on our income and then our ability to invest in the centre and the nature reserve.
But for staff here, like Beth Maples, the weather's unpredictability makes it difficult to find solutions for a growing issue.
It's not as simple as, we can follow a bit of a flow chart as to how bad it is and plan a response accordingly. We've got to have members of staff down here on the ground checking it out at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning and playing it day by day, really. Staff are waiting to find out on the morning, are we open? Do they need to come in? Do they need to set off? It's quite a reactive thing. It's not something we can always really plan for.
Although the site has since reopened, the sudden cold weather has frozen over the waters. an icy reminder that winter offers no refuge to the people and wildlife alike. Jack Sims for Notts TV.
Yeah, that's a beautiful shot of a robin. Love that. Thanks, Jack. And next, a Nottinghamshire road, which closed for a collapsed wall, will not need to shut for repairs. These pictures were filmed last year when the wall previously collapsed. Town Street in Bramcote closed late on Wednesday after stones in a wall fell into the carriageway. Engineers from Nottinghamshire County Council went to the site on Thursday, to inspect the damage believed to have been caused by long-term erosion and recent bad weather. And then the road was reopened on Friday with temporary lights in place for drivers to be aware of. Next, a new betting shop has been approved for Mansfield Town Centre after plans were approved by the District Council. Applicant Boyle Sports Limited submitted an application to Mansfield District Council for a new betting shop on Westgate in Mansfield Town Centre in August of last year. The council approved the plans on Wednesday and the unit is currently occupied by Millet, the retail store specialising in outdoor equipment for activities like skiing. The new licensed gambling shop will be neighboured by Greggs and Eco Vapes and facing Marks and Spencer. Time for a short break, but you won't want to miss what's coming up as we will be joined by our amazing resident film guru Gav Squires on the sofa on the way next. Welcome back to the final part of Notts Today. Happy Friday. I'm Emma Caldwell. Here is what else is going on in our county. And this week marked another On-Call Recognition Week, which is dedicated to putting the good work of individuals on a pedestal. And this week, the service shines a spotlight on its on-call firefighters who dedicate significant hours each week to respond to emergencies whilst balancing their full-time jobs too. As part of the award presentation, companies which release on-call firefighters were given a tour of the fire station, offering them the unique opportunity to see what full-time firefighters do on a daily basis. Next, with more than 60,000 students in Nottingham across its two major universities and colleges, and roughly 1 in 10 university students coming from overseas to get their degrees, it is fair to say we are quite commonly known as a student-heavy region. Now, foreign students often face big culture shocks when they arrive, like residents wearing shorts when it's freezing and the Brits' thrill of a night with cold picky bits for tea too. I love that. We've been out to hear from students at what British quirks they have found entertaining.
It's always raining, but I found that they didn't really use umbrellas. In Hong Kong, when it's raining, I must bring umbrella with me because I don't like the feeling when I get wet. But like they just like don't care about getting wet. I'm the one who using the umbrella, but they just walk by and without any umbrella.
As a Chinese or as an Asian, I need hot meal for my for every day. How do you get food with like just a piece of cold sandwich? And I need something hot to eat, like rice and noodle. Burger is like kind of unhealthy food to me.
The first time when I came to the UK, I was thinking, okay, I know English, I studied English before. However, once I arrived in the UK, the British accent, the way they speak is really fast. I was confused and I did struggle with the communication at the beginning. I felt like a completely stranger. I was like, this is not my place. I'm not suitable in here. Everyone has their own mindset. Everyone think differently and they speak differently. I mean, Spain is not like this variety of people. Also, to be polite, especially with the bus driver, say thank you every time you just go, because we don't always say thank you to everything and we're not always that polite with everyone.
Now, we'll have a full weather report in just a few minutes, but the temperatures are basically going to be really chilly this weekend. So if you are looking to get into the warmth of a cinema screen or just snuggling up at home in front of the telly, I am very pleased to say, for the first time this year, our resident entertainment guru, Gav Squires, is in the building to tell us more about what we can see. Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I was just saying to Isabel, who was on the sofa earlier, I feel like we can still say that, but maybe today's the cut-off.
This is the cut-off, I think, yeah.
Now, it is cold. There is a lot of people going to be wanting to snuggle up, either in a cinema or on a sofa.
As you say, right? This is the great thing about the cinema. In the middle of summer, when it's really hot outside, they've got great air conditioning. In the middle of winter, when it's cold outside, they're always nice and heated.
Once I took a blanket to the cinema with me. You can do it. It turns out no one tells you not.
Stop you.
So what have we got coming up first?
Starting with We Live in Time.
There is something that your daddy and I...
There's something that Mummy and me want to...
We want to talk to you about. It's a bit serious, though.
Yeah. my underwear.
Oh, I literally have no idea.
So sorry, but do we know each other?
Yeah, no. I ran you over. Sorry.
Whether we like it or not, the clock is ticking.
What's the rush?
Because I'm worried that there's a very distinct and real possibility that I am about to fall in love with you.
I'm okay. It's okay, honestly. It's okay not to be okay.
That makes me want to cry.
Oh, so yes, a romantic drama, very good. Florence Pugh, Andrew Garfield, absolutely incredible.
And what a cast.
Absolutely incredible in this film. They have some real chemistry. And I think if anyone was on the internet sort of a couple of months before Christmas, very meme heavy already, some of the pictures from this film. I really enjoyed this, but it feels like one of those sort of things you need to go into with the right frame of mind.
Right.
Because some of it just feels a little bit staged. So it's kind of, we go through their kind of relationship, we hit some of the big kind of like moments. But even the kind of like their meet cute there where she runs him over, it's because he's staying in a hotel, he's wearing the dressing gown, and he's running out trying to find a pen to sign his divorce papers.
Oh.
But it's kind of like, if you put your cynical hat on, you're like, well, why wouldn't you just ask someone in the hotel to borrow a pen?
Yeah, true.
But if you can suspend disbelief, it's really good. Really enjoyed this.
I'm in. From the trailer, I'm giving that 5. What are you giving that?
4 out of 5 from me.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Right. Now this one, I'm very excited about too. What's up next?
This is Better Man.
I'm Robbie Williams. I'm one of the biggest pop stars in the world. This is my story, but I'm not going to tell it in an ordinary way because I don't see myself how others see me. To be honest, I've always been a little less evolved. I don't wanna rock, so let's take it from the top, shall we? I sit and wait. My dad was well enamored by the stars of the day.
You can't learn it. You're either born with it or you're a nobody.
There's an angel.
Don't want to be a nobody.
Contemplate my fate.
You're enough.
The places where we go when we're grey and old.
You got in? You're in that band?
Take that! Through it all, she offers me protection.
I want to prove I can make it on my own.
It's giving me the shivers as well, but then I'm a 90s girl
Well,
and Robbie Williams' life.
And kind of like, it's kind of really interesting seeing kind of the different reactions to this movie. Because in America, they're kind of like, who is Robbie Williams?
Exactly.
Whereas over here, like again, people of the right age are like, oh my God, yes, Robbie Williams biopic. And as we can see, rather than being played by an actor, Robbie Williams is played by a CGI chimpanzee.
I mean, why not?
Why not? Now, it's your very, very sort of standard musical biopic. He's successful. He has some problems with drugs and alcohol and everything, tragedy, yada, yada, yada. Then he's successful again, everyone's happy. It does play a little bit with some of the kind of like the genuine kind of darkness at the heart of the music industry, which you don't normally see in these sort of films. But for me, it's just kind of a bit of an issue with the whole chimpanzee film thing. Just feels like a gimmick.
Right.
It never plays off. I'm always waiting. I was watching going, oh, there's going to be some deeper meaning behind the fact he's a chimpanzee, and it's all just kind of like, oh yeah, I see myself as a performing monkey. I'm like,
That's
okay,
it.
it's very, very surface level reading. I needed something else.
It's Robbie Williams, and I think it'll do well. What are you giving it out of 5?
So it didn't quite work for me. It is quite interesting. If you're a Robbie fan or a Take That fan, you'll enjoy it. But for me, it was 2 out of 5.
I think I might wait till it comes on the telly, if
I
I'm
think
honest.
I probably
All
would.
right, what are we going with finally?
We're finishing up with Mufasa, the Lion King.
It's time I tell you a story. A story of a cub, not much bigger than you.
So just to be clear, we're not in this story?
There's a lot of stories with all of us. Tell one of those. Long before they became legends, Mufasa and the prince who would come to be known as Scar became brothers.
Hello, what's your name?
Mufasa.
I told you to wait for me. We can't just leave him here.
Rules are rules, Taka.
The king will never accept us stray.
I'm not a stray. I'm just lost.
We do not associate with outsiders. Tucker is the future king. We must protect the bloodline.
But, Dad, I saved his life. I have a secret, Mufasa. I always wanted a brother.
Blimey, this one looks clever.
So The Lion King is based on, loosely based on Hamlet. This is a prequel to The Lion King.
Is it? I genuinely didn't know that.
Yes. So uncle, kills the dad, and then the son has to.
Wow, light bulb moments going on right round here.
And someone's thinking they could do a prequel to Shakespeare. What were they thinking? I wasn't really. I don't really like this kind of like live action Lion King. This weird CGI,
it is weird.
uncanny valley thing. And as well, they've changed the kind of relationship between kind of Mufasa and Scar. So rather than being brothers, they're now kind of like stepbrothers. We've all seen enough David Attenborough to know that if a pack of lions found an orphaned cub, they wouldn't rescue it.
No.
They'd eat it.
Yeah.
Right? We know that's what would happen. So this didn't really quite work for me, but if you're looking for something to do with the kids and they like The Lion King, if they enjoyed that first kind of like live action one, I think they'll still enjoy this.
Okay.
It's a bit more of the same, just not quite as good.
So what are you giving it out of 5?
Like I say, I didn't really like this. Another 2 out of 5. I think some people will enjoy this though.
Okay, I think I'm with you on that. Gav, it's a total pleasure seeing you. Thank you very much
See
for
you
coming
too.
in. Next we've got a snippet for a very special show out on notstv.com, which gives a platform to promising local musicians recorded in Space 2 here in the city. The programme not only lets you see some great performances of original songs, we also get to hear from the people behind the music in exclusive interviews too. You can catch up on Knots TV all throughout this month, and here is a look at band Luna and the Lime Slicers with their song Red Room. I interviewed them at Splendor. They were ever so nice. Time now for another look at your picture of the day. Thank you very much to Miriam Julio for this lovely snap from Attenborough Nature Reserve. Let's take a look at your weather for the weekend now. Tonight is going to be dry, but temperatures really dropping to a chilly -3 in the early hours of tomorrow. Saturday will be foggy all morning before we see some sunny spells in the late morning and afternoon. Temperatures still below 0 though. On Sunday, highs of 4 and a low of -1. That's all we've got time for. A big thanks for all my guests, including lovely Gav. Have a good weekend and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.